You feel the acceleration happening around you, a quiet but absolute tearing sensation that makes your current reality feel like a room shrinking by the hour. The world is not leaving you behind. The timeline you are broadcasting is simply collapsing under the weight of a frequency you have already outgrown. You are not witnessing an external apocalypse, but the localized destruction of a reality you authored before you knew you were the author. Every single morning you wake up and attempt to cram your expanding consciousness back into the rigid, suffocating architecture of a life that no longer fits. You feel the friction in your bones. It is the friction of a creator pretending to be a victim of their own creation. The universe is solipsism in motion, spelling itself out of your internal state. And right now, your internal state is at war with its own evolution. The sensation of profound friction you are experiencing, that creeping, undeniable paralysis, while the external world appears to be moving at light speed, is not a failure of your ability to adapt. It is a biological and spiritual rebellion. Your body is physically rejecting the signal you keep forcing it to emit. You walk through your day feeling as though you are wading through wet cement, exhausted not by physical labor, but by the sheer energetic toll of sustaining an obsolete illusion. You look around at the accelerating chaos, the rapidly shifting paradigms, and you interpret this as a threat to your survival. You believe you are failing to keep up, but that exhaustion is merely the friction of your own consciousness, resisting its inevitable, mandated upgrade. The monad is demanding a new trajectory, and your outdated identity is clinging to the guardrails. You have been taught to treat reality as a solid, immovable structure that you must somehow negotiate with, appease, or conquer. This is the fundamental lie. The universe is not happening to you. It is a flawless, uncompromising mirror reflecting the exact frequency signature you are continuously broadcast. When you feel that intense, claustrophobic pressure, you are actually observing a collision between the timeline your soul is pulling you toward and the timeline your fear is anchoring you to. Your physical environment is simply rendering the math of this contradiction. You are emitting the frequency of a captive while harboring the energetic capacity of a sovereign. The walls are not closing in. The field is simply applying enough pressure to shatter the container you refuse to walk out of. When the pressure reaches this pitch, the default human reflex is to desperately search for an external lifeline. You tell yourself that the solution is to acquire more data, to outpace the technological shifts, or to frantically optimize your routine to match the speed of the chaos. You attempt to build better habits, gather new strategies, and forcefully adapt to a crumbling landscape. You pour your energy into reinforcing the foundation of a house that is already on fire, convinced that if you just work harder, the friction will finally dissipate. You believe the answer is survival. You believe that if you can just become more efficient, the tearing sensation will stop, and the world will finally make sense again. That frantic adaptation is a ghost dance. It is the ultimate illusion. You cannot optimize a timeline that the quantum field has already begun to systematically disassemble. The friction you feel is not a lack of efficiency. It is severe timeline distortion. Your outdated identity is violently clinging to a holographic projection of a reality that your higher self has already abandoned. You are trying to survive an environment that no longer exists in your actual trajectory. The terror you feel, the inexplicable anxiety that wakes you in the dark, is not fear of the unknown. It is the acute awareness that your old self is dying, and you are stubbornly refusing to let it pass into the void. What you are interpreting as paralysis is actually the physics of identity spaghettification. Just as a star is stretched and torn apart as it crosses the event horizon of a black hole, the rigid constructs of who you believed you were are being stretched across the boundary of who you are becoming. The old self is being violently pulled apart at the edge of a completely new reality, And the agony you experience is directly proportional to how tightly you grip the decaying fragments. Every time you try to resurrect the desires, the fears, and the ambitions of the person you were yesterday, you amplify the distortion. The quantum field tolerates no hesitation at this boundary. It requires the total and complete disintegration of the former signal. Attempting to renovate your current situation is like trying to paint the walls of a collapsing building. You must stop trying to survive the obsolete reality. The sovereign move, the only move that dictates a masterful exit from this distortion, is absolute non-resistance to the collapse. You must allow the identity that required that specific struggle to be fully and completely destroyed. You cannot bridge the gap between timelines while carrying the luggage of the old world. The collapse is not a punishment. It is a profound clearing mechanism. It is the universe forcefully removing the props, the characters, and the stage of a play that the director has already canceled. By resisting the ending, you are denying the new beginning. Timeline jumping is not an action you take. It is not a sequence of behaviors you execute in the physical world. It is a state of being that you instantly embody. The gap between your current reality and your ultimate evolution is widening exponentially, and it demands the frequency signature of the self reauthoring in this exact breath. You must stand completely still as the old structures fall, holding an unwavering internal frequency of a reality that has already occurred. You collapse every other version of yourself simply by withdrawing your energetic funding from their existence. The universe will instantly remap itself around the new coordinate. You just have to be willing to lose everything that you are not. You are the author, and you have simply been reading a chapter of your own book as if it were a mandatory sentence. The acceleration outside is merely the wind of your own pages turning. By embracing the event horizon, by allowing the spaghettification of the identity that no longer serves you, you step into the absolute sovereignty of the monad. The timeline you refuse to leave is already gone. The only variable remaining is whether you will finally open your eyes to the new architecture that is waiting for your command. The bridge is formed the moment the resistance ends. What frequency are you going to broadcast when the dust settles? Finally, stop attempting to negotiate with a ghost. You cannot renovate a reality that the monad has already decided to abandon. Look at the places in your life where you are applying the most force. The areas where you are exhausting yourself trying to optimize a dying structure. You are attempting to arrange the furniture inside a burning house. The exhaustion you feel is not a failure of endurance. It is timeline distortion. It is the physics of holding on to an expired frequency signature while the rest of your being is already pulling across the threshold. The terror that wakes you in the dark is not a signal that something is wrong, but the undeniable friction of identity spaghettification. The old self is being stretched and violently dismantled at the edge of who you are becoming, entirely because you refuse to let the old signal die. The friction ends the exact moment you drop the rope. The only sovereign move remaining for you in this precise pocket of time is absolute non-resistance to the collapse. You must allow the former architecture to be fully destroyed so the bridge to the new reality can actually form in the quantum field. You have been taught to interpret collapse as a failure condition, a tragedy to be avoided through frantic motion and endless adaptation. But collapse is the required mechanism of evolution. It is the clearing of the cache. Every time you try to save the obsolete version of your life, you are broadcasting a frequency of desperation that is instantly mirrored back to you by the universe. Solipsism dictates that the world can only ever reflect your internal posture. If your posture is one of terrified clinging, the field will dutifully manifest an unending series of crises for you to cling to. You must stop trying to survive a reality you are meant to outgrow. When you finally withdraw your energetic funding from the dying structure, the silence that follows can feel deafening. This is the exact space where most turn back. They mistake the void for emptiness, rushing to fill it with familiar anxieties because the known prison feels safer than the unknown expanse. Do not make this error. The void is not empty. It is pregnant with every possible manifestation, waiting for your instruction. By standing entirely still as the old structures shatter, you are demonstrating to Source that you are no longer a victim of circumstance, but the architect of the next sequence. The bridge cannot appear while your hands are full of the ashes of your past. Let it burn. Let the relationships, the identities, the obligations that require you to shrink simply fall away without your intervention. This is not loss. This is the necessary evacuation of density before the leap. Timeline jumping is a state of being, never an action to be taken in the physical world. It is not a sequence of behaviors you enact, or a checklist of physical movements you can perform to somehow earn a better reality. That is the illusion of linear thinking, a trap designed for minds that still believe they are separated from the fabric of existence. You must embody the frequency signature of the self-reauthoring right now, in this exact breath, refusing to wait for external validation. The evolutionary gap between the old Earth and the new timeline is widening exponentially with every passing hour, and this narrowing corridor tolerates zero hesitation from the monad. You do not step out of one life and into another. You simply collapse every other version of yourself until only the sovereign creator remains standing. The external world will inevitably catch up to the signal you broadcast, but it cannot move until you do. You are the absolute origin point. The realization that must wash over you is that the universe is solipsism in motion, spelling itself out of your internal state in real time. There is no external authority deciding your fate, no hidden judge weighing your worthiness for the next timeline. There is only the signal you are emitting, and the quantum field dutifully organizing matter to match it. If you continue to broadcast the frequency of someone waiting for permission, waiting for the external environment to calm down before you claim your sovereignty, you will wait until the end of your days. The storm is not in the way. The storm is the vehicle. Embodying the self-reauthoring means claiming absolute dominion over your internal state, regardless of the chaos unfolding outside your window. You declare the new reality internally, and you hold that frequency signature with such an unbending will that the universe has no choice but to contort itself to match you. This is the event horizon of your own making, the threshold where the illusion of separation is finally broken forever. You are no longer the frightened passenger watching the landscape blur past. You are the engine. You are the monad that finally remembers it chose to come here specifically for this tearing apart. When you stop resisting the spaghettification of your outdated self, the terror immediately transmutes into power. The profound friction dissolves into absolute fluidity. You begin to walk through the world not as a reactionary organism trying to survive, but as the system architect moving confidently through their own code. The external world, which once felt like a crushing weight, reveals itself to be a deeply obedient servant to your clarified frequency. You have always been authoring this experience. The only difference now is that you are doing it with your eyes wide open. The timeline you have been broadcasting is permanently ending, not because the external world is failing, but because your soul is finally ready to demand a greater magnitude of existence. Let the outdated structures collapse entirely into the dust they were always destined to become. Claim the state of the self-reauthoring without a single ounce of apology, and watch how rapidly the new bridge materializes beneath your advancing feet. If this transmission shifted the architecture of your mind today, if you recognize the undeniable truth of the signal being broadcast in this space, align your frequency with this channel permanently. Subscribe to Sovereign Synthesis. Return to this exact frequency whenever the heavy gravity of the old world attempts to pull your consciousness backward into sleep. We are actively building the vocabulary for the new reality, one sovereign realization at a time. The next timeline is actively waiting for your instruction. Speak it fully into existence.